your stories. So since this is still early on, we are going to give you guys the backstory as to how we met, right? So first, let's let Jarvis give his version.
So, for you all that don't know, we actually met. We actually met on social media. So we were following each other on different social media pages, and I think it was Instagram we were initially following each other. So, but then I came across this her profile on Facebook, and I'm like, oh, man, send request. So I'm sitting there and I hit it. She responds back like, why'd you add me and delete me?
Okay, so let me pause it here because I find it very rich that you are now telling my version of the story after getting it wrong for how many years now? But continue on, sir.
So I'm like, responding back like, I don't think maybe we weren't following each other, but I know it was like I know you, I recognize you from somewhere. Mm-hmm. Come to find out, we were following each other on Instagram, and so it just came up in as your people you may know. So I'm like, that's how we started. So we ended up having a regular conversation, and she's telling me like how she was doing this and doing that.
Pause. Let me jump in here, okay? Because I think the people need to know that. Let it be very clear that when he added me or requested me as a friend, right? Mm-hmm. I hit him up in the DMs and I said, "Why you add me after you deleted me?" Right?
Right.
Like, so I wasn't trying to be this nigga friend. I wasn't trying to be this man's friend. I'm who the F are you and why are you here? Like, how you gonna delete me, right? So I think that needs to be clear.
Yes.
Because they'll be trying to make it seem like a girl trying to holler.
Oh no, it wasn't that. She was combative a little bit. But she was ready to go on 10. I had to bring her down to about a 5.
Right, he talk about I've been noticing you around, and I be seeing you doing your thing. I say, yeah, exactly. I work out on business. He's like, yeah, I see you own businesses, right? And then, I'm like, okay, he talking about something, you doing a lot. You should slow it down. You should take some time for yourself. First of all, who do you think you are trying to tell me to take some time out? I don't even know you, right?
An unbiased viewer.
Whatever. I don't even know you, sir. And so I'm like, okay, well, make me. I think that's what I said. I'm like, make me. And then he was like, well, let's go out the following Friday. Mm-hmm. And so I think we went out. So this was December of 2017.
Exactly.
December of 2017. I think that conversation actually took place on like December 1st because I was in a supervision meeting December 1st. And then so we went out that next Friday, December 8th. Yep. And then quite honestly, I feel like for a long time we was literally going out every Friday or making sure we linked up every Friday because we lived in separate cities. He lived in the west suburbs. I lived in over east in Chicago, over east, right? And so like you made that commitment because you was driving, my boy.
I was.
So our first date, we went to like the movies, right?
We went to the movies.
And to get pizza. But we're gonna talk about that a little bit later. I think our second date, we went to Winter Wonderland.
Yep.
Y'all, I gotta tell y'all this story. Okay. Why you laughing?
Go ahead. I know where you going. Go ahead.
No, you don't. Okay. So this man here, right, was dedicated. Okay, persistent, I should say. Because the day that we was going to Winter Wonderland, I had an appointment to get my windows tinted on my truck. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, yeah, we can go that day because remember I thought like I should be done in time, right? Because my appointment was so early in the morning or earlier in the day. Well, that didn't go as planned. And I was texting him, remember, and I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm making it in time because they still not done my truck because all these bypasses and they can't get around because they gotta put. No, it wasn't my windows tinted. I was getting an automatic starter put in my car. My bad. And I was like, they gotta do all this stuff, blah blah blah. And he said, "Now mind y'all." So at that time I was living in Chicago, over East Jeffrey Manor to be exact, right? But I was in Lansing South suburb getting stuff done. He was living in West suburbs by Oakbrook at that time. He said, "Oh well, I could just come and get you." I was like, "But no, I need to go home. I'm not dressed, right?" I'm like, "I need to go home. I gotta shower. I gotta put some clothes on." He was like, "Oh, I could just come and get you, take you home. You get dressed, and then we can go downtown, park our car, and then hop on the train." Because like if you from Chicago, you really, unless you finna paper park, you really ain't driving like to certain places. You would just like hop on a train or whatever because it's just easier. But then he like, I was like, wait, no, you can't do that. That's just doing too much. Like, what are we doing here? And he was like, no, I said, I promise you, you don't gotta do all that. I was like, I would make it home in 10. Because at that point, I think I had told my mom, like, I could just, like, have my mama come get me or whatever. Because I'm like, I'm not going to leave my car here. It was so much stuff. You remember that?
Little bits and pieces of it.
So, where you thought I was going with the story?
Nah.
I know where you're going with the story. I know where you're going. Where you thought I was going with it?
Clearly, I was wrong. She talked about beforehand. I thought she was talking about the actual date on the second part.
Nah. Oh, the actual date when you fell and bust your head? Hey. And my supervisor? Oh my gosh. So my supervisor was there. I didn't know. But I got to work that Monday. So we made it. Clearly we made it. I made it out in time. We just got there a little later than usual. Than we expected, but it was okay. We doing rock climbing. And so they had us on different sides. And I didn't know what was going on his side, but all I know is when I got to work Monday morning, because he didn't tell me he fell. I got to work Monday morning, and my supervisor was like, "Shaniqua, what you was doing? Where you at?" I'm like, "Yeah, I was on a date." She was like, "We saw your date fall on his ass."
Man.
I said, "What? I didn't even know he fell. He didn't tell me." Instantly, I leave out my supervisor's office. I'm like, did you fall rock climbing? And didn't tell me? I think he tried to play it off at first. I was like, my supervisor told me she saw you. Her and her son. At that. Her and her son, right? Hilarious. But no, that's just our like simple story as to how we met, of course. We've been rocking and rolling, like I said, since what, December 2017? We didn't actually commit until September 2018. Because let me tell y'all, the man thought I was his girlfriend already.
I did. And I didn't even ask her.
Didn't even ask me. Like, what we doing here?
I'm like, oh, you my girlfriend, look.
And tell them, why you just thought I was just your girlfriend?
Because at that time, we were consistently dating. And we're going out talking. Like, at that time, we had met each other's parents. And people that know, for me, I don't bring people around my parents or my family like that. So if I bring you around, you are someone special in my life at that time. So I was just thinking like that. Like, we were consistently, every Friday was our day to hang out together and date and do all that. And we were communicating with each other on a regular basis. So at that point, I was thinking, well, you know, we're together in my eyes. We also had went out of town, and 6 months after we had started dating, like that was our first. We went to LA. That was our first trip together.
I had a business trip, yep. And I remember because I was like, I got a business trip. Do you want to go with me? He was like, sure.
It was my birthday weekend, so it was like, oh yeah.
Yeah, that sure was our very first trip out of town to LA, handling business. And I was like, that's how I knew you was a trooper though. I was like, oh, you know what? He a keeper. Because I'm like, yeah, I gotta do this pop-up shop in LA. It was for one day for a few hours. I'm like, I gotta do this pop-up shop because I used to own an online lingerie and sex toy store. So I'm like, I gotta do this pop-up shop. You wanna come with me? I'm just taking my clothes. That's it. I'm not doing the toys or anything like that. And he was like, sure. I was like, can you get off work? Because I didn't work weekends. But I know your schedule was like all over the place. He was like, yeah, I got some time. I was like, okay, cool. At that time, I didn't even know that you wasn't getting paid for vacation days. You were just taking off.
I was taking off.
And I'm like, what? What do you mean? I thought that after the fact. And I was like, all the truth, but because I get there, remember I was like, I need to find a Target because I need to buy some stands. Because I'm like, I'm not going to load all this stuff on the airplane. Right. I'm just going to put we had our luggage filled with the clothes because, you know, Southwest give you 2 free flights. So we had our four suitcases, 4 suitcases. I was like, but I need a stand. So we went to Target, got a stand, used it, took it back.
But we got a little.
I was like, okay, I'm done. Or Walmart, we went to one of those. I was like, I'm done. I don't need this. Like, I'm hop back on this plane. Yep. No, I sure forgot. But yeah, and he wasn't even my man, for real. Mm-hmm. But I can see how, for somebody like you, I can see how you would think that, oh, we automatically in a relationship because this is what, like, I talk to you every single day. We make sure we're going out or we're hanging out or seeing each other every single weekend. But I'm still an old-fashioned girly sometimes. And I'm like, bro, you never even asked me to be your girlfriend. And the conversation only came up because why you talking about, oh, I thought we was acting his girlfriend. Somebody was up here letting people sweet talk them and get them little compliments. I'm like, no, don't be letting that girl text you, give you no compliments. And so he's like, but you my girlfriend. Who? Who your girlfriend? Because my man wouldn't be letting no little girl be texting his phone talking about something, oh, you cute. My girl, because you should have said my girlfriend thinks so, if that was the case. And so then I think like a little bit, like probably a month after that. But he really did, I will give it to him. He really did think that we was in a relationship and he was feeling like, oh, that the little girl texting wasn't nothing. But I'm like, sir, you didn't ask. But it wasn't like I was dating anybody else anyway. So, but I just wanted to be asked.
I get it. And I understand it now. At that point, I was like, well, that's where it comes with different perception. I was like, well, you my girlfriend. You like, you ain't asked me, so I don't know what we doing. Are we doing this or what we doing not? And that was one of those things where we learned at an early age, communication.
Yeah.
Because I was like, this is my girl, blah, blah. I'm telling you, like, this is my girl, like, blah, this is her.
I'm telling people, I'm just dating this guy. Right. No, but also, I didn't think like too deep as in like being like a committed relationship because when I date people, I only date one person at a time. Like if I'm actually going to date. Now, when I'm just trying to be out here being a player, then that's a different Shaniqua. Y'all miss those player days, but you know, trust and believe is in me. Okay, no, I'm just playing. Just kidding. I am just kidding, y'all. One thing y'all gonna learn is all I do is talk shit. 24/7. He be like, girl, cut it off. All the time. All I do is talk shit. But yeah, so like if I'm dating somebody, if I'm like actually dating somebody, like I date one person at a time. So it wasn't like, yeah, we dated. That means we're in a committed relationship. Nah, because those two different things. So that was it. I think your parents thought we was in a relationship too. So I remember having that conversation with your dad. He was like, you literally the other person he talked to. So like, right. Are y'all not in a relationship? Like what's happening here? So yeah, so that was man, that's how we met, man.
Almost seemed like yesterday.
What do you feel like you were at in life when we met? Because I know where I was at.
It's one of those things where it says like timing matters and it's perfect. Mm-hmm. Because at that point, I was just finding myself where it's like, I want something better. I want to be able to do something long lasting in relationship, career, and like everything. It was like, you know what? I was at that point. It was like I'm tired of going out to the club doing all that. I want to be able to do something meaningful. Mm-hmm. At that point, and it was like at that point, it's luckily you came into my life. Mm-hmm. It was one of those things where like, is this a sign? Like, oh, I really like this girl. Like, I want to be able to do this. I want to be able to do that, and be it. So it was one of those things, and she was the vessel that inspired me to get to those levels. Mm-hmm. So that's one of those things where it's like timing and perfection, all of that. Because if I had probably met her in my earlier years, so like I was 27, 28 around that time when I met her. If I was probably a little bit younger, I would, we wouldn't have been together because I would have been like, this wasn't my mindset. I don't know if I was on this trying at that time. Yeah. So I thank you for being an inspiration and helping me you know, get to where I want to be at, like you are.
Oh, you welcome. I think for me, I know I was at. I had literally. We had just. I had just stopped dating. I had just stopped being a player. Let me use the right words. I had just stopped being a player like 2 months before that. And I was like, I don't got time to keep playing with these fools out here. Let me refocus and just focus on me. Cause I'll never forget. Cause I had just went out of town to Dallas on a girls trip with my cousins, for our annual girls trip. And we was done it for Halloween. And I was talking to this one dude, and he was just talking some dumb shit. And I'm like, fuck off my line, boy. And I was like, what? I'm done. I'm done dating. I'm just gonna focus on myself for these last 2 months of the year. And that's how I did. I just really refocused my attention just to myself, which I always do anyway. But I was like, I'm just not gonna give energy to the dating world. And I think I was even like doing a little mini fast at that time of just like, okay, where am I just going for this next journey in my life? Because we finna hit the end of the year, all this other stuff, and I need to be prepared for the new year. And so it was funny because literally that for an entire month, I was just like only about myself, like just focus on work like I always am, all this other stuff. Because that's always my fallback. If anything is going on in my life, one thing I do is I refocus and just fall to work instantly, whatever that may be. And so that's what I was doing. And then here you go, add me as a friend. So it hasn't been God because usually when people add me as a friend, I don't DM them. But because I'm like, nigga, I've seen you on my social media before. How you trying to add me as a friend? Like, why would you delete me and add me back? And so I felt inclined, like, that may have been God telling, that may was the spirit of the Lord, like, say something to that nigga. And watch the magic it unlocks.
Indeed. Indeed.
But no, I feel like that, and because I knew I wanted something serious, but I just wasn't that. And that for that whole year, I just wasn't getting it, or wasn't consistent. And I was just like, okay, clearly something right. Clearly, I'm dealing with the same type of men that's like goofy. It ain't got time. That's the nice way of putting it. But yeah, okay. Dang, 2017, December. And I had just started my lock journey.
Yep.
In October 2017. So you really met me while I was just starting different phases of my life.
Definitely.
Yep.
When she first started, her hair locks was like right here.
Baby, it ain't never been right there. My locks came down. Don't play with me.
Short. I
will put a picture up. Don't play with me. They came at least to my jawline. I ain't talking about up here. What?
Bottom line, she was just starting out. She was just starting out. And when you look at her hair now, it's
driving to the booty. Down to the booty.
It is. It is. So
that's our story of how we met, y'all. So y'all know I think we told y'all before we're gonna do that little segment, Black Love, right? So we're gonna have a question for the episode. What's the question for today, baby?
So the question of the day is, what do you remember thinking to yourself the first time you saw it? Go ahead.
I got, because people be saying I'm mean. And I'm harsh. I promise y'all, I'm really not mean or harsh. It's not intentional. To be mean means that you are intentionally trying to harm or hurt somebody. That's not the thing, right? So when I first met Jarvis, I first saw him, right? That's what I said. I was like, he don't look like what he look like on the internet. Why he got those dark circles under his eyes? He know how to hit the angles. What is happening here? So y'all see him as bald now and with a beard. That's not how he was. He had, just a regular fade.
Okay, fade.
And no hair.
I had a little face.
Yeah, you had this, but you didn't have a beard. You just had like this, right? The chin hair with some glasses on. And I'm just like, was just so startled, and I was like, yeah, I don't think this is gonna work. In my math, I don't think this is gonna work. But he grew on me because, like, just his personality in general. He grew on me fast. Well, it didn't take forever. His personality in general, and I was like, those are cosmetics things that can be worked on eventually. Because I was like, babe, we gotta lose the glasses and get some contacts. Like, it's you gotta pick a struggle here. Like, you can't have the no facial hair with the glasses, and like it was giving like peeping through the window vibes, sir. Sir, it was like nerd peeping through the window vibes. And his family tells me the only reason why he got contacts to this day is because of me. Like, he had never worn contacts before we did it.
We met in December. She told me that, I think, January, middle of January, I had contacts.
Yup. I was like, baby, please get contacts. Or even just get some better glasses. Because the glasses was so like, and I understood it because of his job. It was like, you don't need the fancy glasses or whatever. Right. So we had actually upgraded your glasses.
We did.
So it's like some cooler like frames that fit his face. That like gave him some swag, and you had got the contacts.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. What was your first thought?
First thought was like, oh dang, she is pretty. I like her.
He was trying to get some booty.
And so it was that. Then when she started talking, I'm like, oh, she a little firecracker. Look, she came out the door. Well, yeah, bye. You know, we gonna do this, and I ain't trying. I'm like, okay. And I'm like, okay. And that was different for me. It was like,
yeah.
It was one of those things. It was like, oh, she a firecracker, but I like it.
Right.
Because
I'm addicted.
Right. At that time, she was like the first woman that I experienced that was like a little bit more of the fire. In my past, I had shied away from women like that. So I like more women that were more so like me, like introverts, laid back.
I'm an extrovert.
Right. She's an extrovert. So, and we surprisingly hit it off really well at that time. So I like that. And it was one of those things like it kept me on my toes. I'm like, okay, it was different.
Yeah.
And so that's what naturally gravitated me towards her.
Mm-hmm.
And it was one of those things where it's like, okay, I like this, you know. And so I took it as like, all right, how can I be able to match that? It initially, like her being the person that she is, it helped to bring me out of my shell. So it was one of those things like, okay, I'm reaching new heights. Okay, like yeah. She give me like she's the push. I'm like, okay, I can do this.
Yeah. And
from that moment, it was like, okay. But the firecracker was like, oh, she a firecracker. Like, all right.
So, I remember you used to say all the time, like, I usually don't date outspoken. If we get into like a little tizzy and then be like, but what? Right. You know, like nothing too major like her, but just let her easy. I remember he said that a couple times. Well, I usually don't date women that's outspoken, so this outside of my norm. I'm trying to adjust. So blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, well, hurry up. But like, I'm adjusting to you every day with the glasses on. But nah, that was the first thought that you had. You like, oh, she pretty. Oh, she don't open her mouth.
Hey.
I'm cracking up. No, that's hilarious though. That's hilarious. Okay. All right. Well, we hope y'all enjoy our story of like just like how we met and like that the first 6 months of our dating situation that we shared with you all. Tell us in the comments, you know, how did you and your spouse meet? We would love to hear it, read it, and respond back and show y'all some love as well. But, you know, with that being said, right, thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Seymour Shenanigans. And, of course, follow us on all social media at Seymour in Action. On everything, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I think that's all the socials, right?
Yeah,
and, of course, YouTube. Oh, and Patreon, of course. Because at some point in our Patreon, that we will do live sessions there. But you will have to be a paid member for that one. But we'll let y'all know when that part drops. But it was good seeing y'all.